Hey ladies, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about cutting, maintenance, surplus, and reverse dieting. There's so many great questions that came in. So I will go through just a snippet of details for each, and then I'll dive right into your questions. I'm not one that scripts. I've just written your questions down. I have some skeleton notes, and we'll go through it together. So there are a lot of new faces in macro tracking and weightlifting for women. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Welcome. If you're watching this anywhere other than that group, please join us. It's our Facebook group. So I'm going to quickly introduce myself. So my name's Kristen. I am a trainer and nutritionist, and I've been training women for over 12 years now. It's been my only adult career. I have my bachelor's degree in exercise science, exercise sports science, and then my master's in international business. I was an in-person trainer for about 6 years. I joined the military. I trained them as well in their fitness routines, and I also created and taught nutrition courses to them. And then post-military, I got out in 2020 and then brought everything online because I'm a mom, and so I needed to be able to be present. But also, I launched online right when COVID hit. And so we needed to be fit and get a lot of education and have support in a community online. And I've been online ever since. I've worked with over 400 women, most of them ranging between ages 35 and 65. I work with a lot of perimenopausal and postmenopausal women and everyone just wanting to be fit for life. That is definitely what I teach. Holistic living, like how to eat healthy, not taking loads of supplements if you don't want to, right? How to just have balance in your diet and your lifestyle, have a really fun lifestyle, but also be super fit and healthy and feel incredible in your skin and have the confidence that's like, I love clothes shopping or getting dressed because I look amazing in everything, right? Not in a prideful way, but in a healthy and fit and like self-love way. It's great. So that is what I teach. I love what I do. I'm sure I'll do this for the rest of my life. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to quickly go into where should you be? Okay, I know some questions came in like, I don't even know where to start. I will talk about that, but I want to give a baseline of who should be in each phase. And remember, this is my beliefs, right? You may believe something different, and that's totally fine. I'm just going to educate you from a perspective, okay? All right, so cutting, who should be here? If you want to lose weight, like weight on the scale, if you want to lose weight, you should be cutting, okay? Cutting is the same thing as saying, I'm gonna be in a deficit. A deficit just simply means you're eating less than your body needs to maintain, okay? Quickly, I wanna share with you what a set point is, because some of you ladies have been experiencing, you'll lose the weight, but then you'll gain it back. You'll lose it, you'll gain it, you'll lose it, you'll gain it. It's so frustrating to go through that. And it's because you haven't, well, a couple things. You haven't taught yourself a new set point, so a new weight that your body will keep going back to. It's beautiful when our set point matches our ultimate goal, and it can. And I'll show you how in this video. So that's the first way. The other way is if you lost the weight without retraining your habits, you'll always go back. You have to put in the work to retrain your habits and how you live your life. It doesn't have to be drastically different, but it has to be healthier to maintain healthy physique with ease. Okay. That is what I teach in my coaching programs as well, is how to live healthy, be fit, and maintain with ease. So if you are interested in that, send me a DM. We can always chat through your goals and what I can do for you. Okay. All right, so who should be cutting? People who want to lose weight. And now I do have a macro calculator. It's totally free. So if you want to know your baseline macros, you can either comment here, macro calculator, or send me a DM. I'm happy to send that to you. All calculators are made for the masses, so it's not person specific, but it will give you a great baseline to know where to start. So this is great for women asking, where do I even start? You need the calculator. Get MyFitnessPal or otherwise, Lose It, whatever other apps are out there, and just plug in those macros and start tracking your food. Start typing in what you're eating. Start weighing on the scale what you're eating, okay? Now, I typically start women in a 25% deficit. It's a pretty big deficit, right? It's still very healthy. The rate of loss is a 1 to 1.5 pound loss per week. If you're super close to your goal, it may be half a pound loss per week, right? It depends on the woman's body. But I like to do 1 to 1.5 pounds per week. It keeps women super motivated because you're seeing weekly results. Now, we track measurements: waist, low belly, glutes, upper thigh, and mid thigh, because the scale fluctuates all the time. If you didn't get very good sleep last night, you had an argument with someone, you're stressed out, the scale can go up and down like crazy. So it's not a good use for tracking progress. I still use it because it's still a point of data, but measurements are so much more accurate. So I recommend that. What are you looking for, right? In measurements, that was one of the questions that came up. What am I even looking for? How do I know this is even working? So like I said, 1 to 1.5 pound loss, if this scale is reflecting accurately. Otherwise, I would say a 0.5 centimeter drop in at least 2 categories. And again, I take those specific 5. So I like to see the waist coming down or the low belly coming down. Sometimes, depending on the woman, your thighs might not move in other than like once every 2 months, because that's where all the weight wants to stay. That's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, because we can't spot reduce fat loss, right? So you just have to keep going. Okay. Okay, cool. Great. I hope that answered your question. Again, there's so many questions that I'll go into. I'm just giving a brief outline for all phases. Okay. Okay, cool. Great. All right. Maintenance. Who should be in maintenance? This is the woman who doesn't want to lose any weight. They feel really comfortable at a really healthy weight, but they still want to become a more fit version of themselves. They still want to grow muscle. They still want to be more toned. You'll still become a smaller version of yourself, but the scale is going to stay about the same. Excuse me. This is personally where I have my clients and I hang out. Most of us, and I'll go into why later, we don't go into a surplus. In most cases, I don't think it's necessary at all. So this is really where we like to hang out after they've reached their goals, because it's so comfortable. It feels so good. You look great, you feel great, and you're still becoming healthy and more fit. So it's just a really stress-free space to hang out. So the scale is going to fluctuate, right? But it's going to stay about the same depending on the woman. I usually see about a 2-pound fluctuation on either side, but usually it's actually a little bit tighter. I totally have a hair in my eye. Now, measurements, whoops. Sorry, ladies. Measurements consistently, I see every 4 to 5 weeks, we'll see a measurement drop, and it might be in one category. It really depends on the woman. It depends on how often you're training. It depends on how hard you're pushing in the gym, how intentional your lifts are. Definitely your program design, right? How often are you changing your workouts? There's a lot that goes into that. If you're interested in learning a lot more about workouts and program design and strategy and technique, you can type, let's call it program masterclass or programming. Just put programming video or something like that. I did like an hour-long video, I think in February, all about program design. So I'm happy to share that with you. Okay, cool. All right. Great. So let's go to surplus, and then I'll go to Versailles. So typically, women who need to be in a surplus feel really skinny. They feel skinny. They just really need more muscle mass. They want to gain weight. They want to gain weight. You want to gain weight. Okay. You can grow beautiful, efficient muscle mass in maintenance. Surplus, for my clients, we gain 1 pound per month. If you gain more than that, you're typically gaining excess fat. It's really not necessary. So gosh, I have put very few women in surplus because it's just not necessary. It's uncomfortable. you feel really squishy, you don't feel great in your skin. And most women don't need to gain muscle as fast as humanly possible, right? I've had some clients come to me and say, I'm so skinny and I don't like what I look like. Help me, right? So we obviously want to put them in a surplus, have them gain weight, gain shape, gain curves, that type of thing. So if that's you, that's the type of woman that I recommend going in surplus. Again, I will go into this more detail here in a bit. The other reason I don't think women really need to go in a surplus is because once you get to maintenance, just because we're not robots and because we're living a balanced lifestyle, you will naturally put yourself in surplus a few times when you're not perfect on macros. And so it's like you take care of it yourself versus being in a surplus, then going to more into a surplus. I just find that women are so comfortable in maintenance, myself included. Okay. All right, ladies. Any questions that come up, please put them in this post as well, rather than the initial video post. Okay. Reverse dieting. So I know one woman asked to really go deep into this. And so this might be a long video. I really want to share this information with you guys. So let's talk about cutting to maintenance, maintenance to surplus, surplus to maintenance or cutting. Okay. So cutting to maintenance, depending on the woman, it seriously depends so much on the woman, on how her body responds and how efficient her metabolism is at the time of start. Okay. I've seen it totally range. Some women, they're so sensitive to an increase. So I have to increase them by like 75 calories at a time, which is really low. Usually I increase by 125 to 150 calories at the fastest rate biweekly. Some women need 5 weeks between changes. It depends on how you're responding. Compliance is huge. If you're not very compliant, like if you're 4 days compliant or less in a reverse diet, it's going to take way longer because we don't really know how your body's responding to the increased macros. So it's so vital to just buckle down and be compliant, at least to get to maintenance. Okay. I will talk about weaning off macros too. So what are you looking for during this time? So let's say between 100 and 150 calorie increase, no faster than biweekly. Okay. 3 weeks, I think, is a pretty good sweet spot, depending on compliance. So what are you looking for? The scale is going to fluctuate a little bit, especially if you increase carb. Your body may have a bit more water retention. The scale goes up. You're freaking out. I increased too much. This is why it's so key to work with a professional, because it's hard to view objectively when you're in it. There's a lot of emotion, right? Your cycle's about to happen and your weight pops up 3 pounds, so you're freaking out and you slash your calories. You can't do that in a reverse diet. You have to be very meticulous, very methodical. Okay. So what are you looking for? Okay. So you're cutting. Let's say you add 125 calories first go around, and let's say you put it all in carbohydrate because your goal is to build muscle mass. Okay. And hopefully you'd already have a healthy amount of fat and protein already. So those probably wouldn't need to increase. You're looking for continued measurement drop. It might be a smidge slower depending on what percent of a deficit you're in. And let me backtrack really quick for those who are like, what percentage of what? What percentage of maintenance? So you have maintenance calories. If you don't know what those are, that's okay. The reverse diet is going to help you know what those are. So when I say I put them in a 25% deficit, I say, okay, here's what I believe your maintenance calories are. I'm going to delete 25% of those and then find your macros based on that 75%. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If you're only in a 15% deficit and you increase by 150 calories, you may be pretty close to maintenance. So you may not see drops, right? So it depends on what percent you're in. So you should still see continued drops, is my point, okay? After 2 to 5 weeks, so after 2 weeks of compliance, if you're still seeing drops, do another increase. If you're doing it by yourself, I would say 3 to 5 weeks, okay? Just, it's better. So in the Army, we say Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Like, don't rush reverse dieting. It's really not necessary. Okay, so then you're still dropping. So you increase by, let's say, another 150, probably mostly in carbs again, maybe sprinkled in some protein and fat. Then you may start to see things slowing down, things starting to get steady. Stay here. Stay here. If your measurements and your weight are staying steady for the next few weeks, you're probably about your maintenance. So stay there. If you're still seeing continued drops, increase again. Okay. Increase again. Don't be afraid. One woman said, I've already increased by 200 calories. I'm still dropping. This is crazy. That's not that crazy. You're just in a bigger deficit. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Any questions on that? Let me see what this question is. What if you don't want to lose weight or inches and you just want to gain muscle? Yeah, that's a good question. That is the type of person that would go into a surplus. Yep. You don't want to become a smaller version of yourself at the same weight. It sounds like you just want to grow. You really just want to grow. Definitely. Surplus is for you. Thank you for asking that. Beautiful question. Okay. Great. So now you've found your maintenance calories, right? So your measurements would change again every 4 to 5 weeks, depending on the woman, but that's what I've seen time and time again. It's about 4 to 5 weeks. That's your true maintenance calories. So you're continuing to get fit. You're continuing to get just shredded legs, but in like a feminine toned way, right? But yeah, if you find like I'm too fit, then you can increase your calories a little bit and go in a surplus to gain a bit of weight. Okay. Now, there's a few options once you get to maintenance. You can just stay here and wean off macros and just live your life in this fit body and work out. That's what I love to have women do. That's my favorite, because then they don't have to track their food anymore. We can always come back to macros. I still come back to macros 12 years later, but sometimes I'll go a year between tracking, and that's fine because you train and teach your body while you're in maintenance how to live the healthy lifestyle, how to have those habits so you don't need to track anymore. Tracking macros is a fabulous tool to have guaranteed results and to teach you new healthy habits if done the right way. Like tracking vegetables, tracking fruit, like having those fruit, veggie, and fiber goals, that type of thing. Learning how to balance and space your meals out, right? Learning how to have sustained energy throughout the day. Those habits, if you keep practicing them, will turn into your lifestyle. It's beautiful. Excuse me. So then you don't have to fight. It's just your life. You don't even really have to think about it anymore. That's also why I typically don't recommend surplus for a lot of women, because then fitness and nutrition becomes this huge thing in their life and stressful and hard work and so time consuming, and there's more quitting and falling off the wagon and getting back on. It's like, okay, let's tone it down and let's just learn how to be steady forever. Okay. But again, it depends on the woman's goals. Now, once you're in maintenance, if you're like, I'm loving it, I just want to keep building and keep building and keep building, you can do it in maintenance or surplus. Moving up into a surplus is going to be the exact same thing you did, reversing from a deficit to maintenance. Okay. Now, I recommend only about a 10% surplus versus, remember I was sharing we do 25% cut, which you can do less if you'd like. I only recommend a 10% surplus because then, again, you're only gaining about 1 pound per month. So you're not gaining a bunch of excess fat. You're simply packing on mass, which you can also do in maintenance if you choose. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, now what to look for in surplus. Let's talk through that for a bit. Again, I go by the weight. What's the scale doing? I definitely go by pictures a lot more than any other phase. I really hone in on the photos. Measurements will show growth too, but only if your program design, your workouts are designed for specific result. Doing like group fitness classes or, even CrossFit or Olympic weightlifting. They're great, right? You're going to get strong. You're going to get more fit, but it doesn't shape your body I'm trying to tread lightly because all things are great and impressive and wonderful. But if you have the goal of growing your glutes, creating these feminine shoulder caps to have lean, toned arms, bringing your waist in, feeling just so feminine and fit in your body, those types of program designs won't take you to that goal, right? Look at the body that those types of programs produce. It's just simply different. So let's say that you really want to grow your glutes, lift them up a bit. How much volume are you putting on your glutes per week? If you're putting less than 20 sets and you really want glute growth, you got to change that for sure. I recommend about 24 for glutes, honestly, like hammer them. And so surplus is going to grow what you're doing in the gym. If you don't have a strategy in the gym and you're just working out, the result is going to be like rolling the dice and you might not love it. And you're putting in all that work and eating all that food. So make sure you know what you're growing. Okay, cool. All right, guys, let's go into the questions. After cutting, do you recommend going to maintenance then surplus? I think you answered that, right? I personally recommend for most, not for all, cutting and then maintenance and then wean off macros. How to go about cutting naturally, because all I'm seeing is drugs to take. Gosh, I know it's so horrible. Fad diets, keto, Atkins, like fat burner, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, let's not do that, right? Let's just be healthy and sustainable. And so what I would do is get the macro calculator so you can get a baseline macros, and then start practicing high quality foods. And like I was sharing, balancing and spacing your meals. And so an easy way to go about this, let's say you have 140 grams of protein for the day, and you want to eat 4 times, take your protein divided by 4, and that's your meal goal. Great. Same with fat, same with carb. It's a great way to be able to self-coach yourself into having balance. For the majority of my ladies, their fruit and veggie goal is 500 grams of veggies and 300 grams of fruit per day. That helps them almost every time hit the 25-gram fiber goal. It keeps their stomach full, so they feel full, they feel really good, but they're still in a deficit. High volume foods are key while you're in a deficit. There was another question that said, let's see. It was something like, here it is. Is it possible to cut without using low fat, fat-free, and substitute ingredients? Yes. And the answer is high volume food. You know what, ladies, actually give me a sec and I will share my screen, because I have, I made a high volume food list because this is so key. And so give me just a second and I will show you some examples. It's not all inclusive. There's other high volume foods, but I will, here it is, but I will show you this. Let's see. Here we go. Great. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I said, can you see my mouse? Yeah. Mostly vegetables, especially green ones. Egg whites, Laughing Cow light cheese, goat cheese, berries, other, what's it called? Fruit, shrimp, whitefish, chicken, oats, popcorn, right? So some of this stuff, like, yeah, there is sugar-free Jell-O pudding, which is actually so good. 0-calorie iced tea, right? So that stuff is with the substitute ingredients, but a lot of this stuff is not. It will keep your stomach so full. And again, you'll still be in a deficit. So you'll feel super good and you'll keep getting results and you won't feel starving. You should never feel starving. Great. Great. Okay. And so, yeah, it's all about habits. Drinking over 100 ounces of water per day. I can't say enough. Balancing, spacing, and high quality food. Okay. In a reverse diet, slowly increasing to maintenance, how much do I increase at a time? Okay, we've already answered that. Another question, knowing when to increase calories to keep metabolism up and by how much each time. I've already answered that as well, right? What to look for in the measurements and how much to increase. If you want more, if you need clarity, please let me know in the comments. I'm so happy to do that. Adjusting macros post breastfeeding. Great question. I do this all the time, actually. A lot of women come to me after pregnancy naturally. I typically do higher fat during while they're breastfeeding. And so when they're done breastfeeding, so let me actually backtrack. I'll never put a breastfeeding woman in a 25% deficit. I start at 15 because for some women, not all, for some women, being in a deficit affects their milk supply, and we don't want to touch that, right? So I'll start them in at 15% and I'll track their milk supply every single week. What are you happy with your milk supply? That's the question that I ask. And so if they say no, if they find it starting to dry up, I'll increase macros by, I would say about 125 to 150, I would say, maybe 150. And I would definitely increase fat. Okay. I probably wouldn't take anyone. I can't, unless they're like morbidly obese. I don't think I would take anyone over 1 gram of fat per kilo body mass. Unless you are in a huge surplus and just really like fat as an endomorph. But anyway, so then post breastfeeding, I'll bring them into more of a deficit if their goal is fat loss, right? And I'll typically take it off the fat because we want maximum carbohydrate for muscle mass, right? Muscle growth. Great. Whew. How's everyone doing? Everyone still following me? Any questions? Is this helping? Let me know some feedback. Did not get the best sleep last night. I'm like, wake up, wake up, wake up. You guys good? I'm not seeing any comments come in. I just want to check in. Might be a little bit lagged. Okay, I'm going to keep going, but let me know if you're with me. Okay, next question. I am always in a cut and I never seem to get anywhere. Typically, that means you're probably not in a deficit. Compliance. That's the first thing that came to mind when I saw that question. I was like, I can almost guarantee it's compliance. So check your compliance. The compliance that we go by for Queens of Iron is 2 to 5 grams over or under for each of the 3 macros equals compliance. If you're not tracking alcohol, we completely disregard calories. Percentages give no useful information since it's completely relative. We simply work in grams always. We weigh and track in grams. We work in grams for macros. We work in grams for everything. So I would say check your compliance, check your food quality, check your meal spacing, meal balance. Okay, next thing, bulking and wanting to go into a cut. Would love to hear your advice. Yeah, and I'll share a mistake I made too. So surplus or maintenance, going into a cut, you want to like cut a little bit at a time. I took a client from maintenance right into a 25% deficit. And she was like, oh my gosh, the hunger is real. Like that was abrupt. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You're so right. And so I would probably do, okay, let's start you, minus 200 cal or even maybe 150. And then let's bring you back again. I think just mentally, and then having your body get used to eating less, it's a little bit nicer. You can just cut back. You can just go back. It's fine. But I think it's a bit easier to cut back a little bit. Now, people coming into my program who knows what their diet was before, I will put them right into a cut. We're going to learn. it's going to be steep learning curve, but that's what they want, right? They want those instant results. So that's what we go for. Okay. I hope that was, this is a great point. What if her metabolism has adapted to the low calorie? Exactly. So then she wouldn't be in a deficit, right? That's exactly right. This is the danger of the diet culture, you guys. This is the danger of, I think it's called Optavia, or I think Optavia or something like that, is they put you on like 1,000-calorie diet with learning no habits and eating all this processed food, and you're killing your metabolism, and it causes a lot of long-term issues. And then when it's no longer sustainable and you've built no habits, you gain all the weight back and more, killing your metabolism even more. And so it's just not worth it. So what would we do in this case, right? She's saying, so the question before was, I'm always in a deficit and I am never getting anywhere. And so my answer was, you're not really in a deficit, or your compliance is messed up, right? And so then this gal said, but what if her metabolism stopped it, right? Meaning she's not in a deficit. So what would we do here in this case? Let's say that she's eating like 1,200 calories and she's saying, and she's not seeing results at that time. I would actually reverse diet her. And I've done this a few times because their metabolism is killed. It's killed. And so what we need to do, first thing is I get them on a lifting routine. So we know that they're building muscle and shaping their body regardless of what's happening with nutrition. We know that they're being taken care of on that side, right? On just beginning to build her body. And so what I would do in this case is I would have her track at wherever she's saying she's tracking to start, probably only for a week or two, just to see, what are your habits around this? What are you doing? Send me screenshots of your food diary. I want to know what's happening, right? Just to get a good picture. And then I would start increasing probably just by 100 calories at a time, hopefully bi-weekly, but she might need 5 weeks of that because we are retraining her body now how to process and handle food. That is such a great point. Thanks for sharing that. Cool. Okay. How long should a cut last? This is a great question. Also really depends on compliance. Really depends on compliance. Now, this is honestly, it's different for every single woman. It really is. I have actually not seen much trend with this. So I'll just share what I've seen and personally what I do for women. I want to get you to your goal. I want to just let's just get to your goal, get you to maintenance. And so if you have like 25 pounds to lose, I'd say, let's just get it done. Like one shot, one kill, and then we'll get you to maintenance. If you have 50 pounds to lose, what I would personally most likely do, again, depending on the woman, but most likely I would have her cut for 6 months or so, do a 2-week diet break, and then we'd go back into the cut. Things I look for to know if someone needs a break from cutting is, are your results stalled? Are you feeling burnt out? Are you feeling like you need a break? Is your kind of zest gone? It's like, okay, either let's work up to maintenance, let's sit here for a while, then we'll go back and do another cut, or let's do a 2-week diet break. Okay. A diet break typically means you track in maintenance for 2 weeks. For some women, I say, don't track at all. Let's talk through mindful eating habits. Go take a break, right? A mental break too. But yeah, I think, gosh, it really depends on the woman. I think I'll stop there. I hope that answers the question. I would say, I'm just thinking that, I'm like, I don't have a lot of women who want to lose more than like 30 pounds because by the time they get to me, they've gotten themselves as far as they can get, right? And so they're like, I've gotten as far as I can get and I can't go anymore. I'm plateaued, I'm stuck. And so by that point, they typically have, I would say like 25 pounds to lose. So that's really where I work the most. All right, I'm going to actually just pop this up here. So Thank you for all the information. Thank you for listening. My weight has fluctuated within a 5-pound range for the past 2 months. My question is, what is a normal weight fluctuation? I started macro tracking over a year ago. You've lost 75 pounds. That's amazing. Good job. That takes a lot of mental resiliency. I'm wondering if I've hit my maintenance. My weight loss has slowed down, up and down within a 5-pound range for 8 weeks. Good question. Now, I think that you might be understanding the word maintenance a little bit different. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're, viewing maintenance as is my body won't change. I'm at maintenance. Is that correct? Let me know. It says Facebook user because I'm using StreamYard. You have to give it privileges. So sorry, I want to be personal with you, but I can't see what your name is at this time. So if you have not increased your macros and your weight has plateaued, you're doing this 5-pound up and down, your macros need to change. Your weightlifting may need to change. I would track how many daily steps are you getting. You may need to increase your steps. What's your food quality? How are you balancing out your meals? But usually if you're plateaued, it's just something needs to change, macros, lifting, or habits. If you have not changed your macros, if you've been increasing your macros and you are now within a 5-pound up and down, you're probably at your maintenance. And 5 pounds for someone is very possible, but that's a pretty big range. And so I question compliance. That would be my first thing that I'd want to talk through. Yeah. If you want to share more, please do. Just let me know that was the same, adding, and then the rest of the comment, or send me a DM and we can totally talk through this more. Absolutely. Okay. For weight loss, how should the pounds of loss needed to be determined? This is a great question. It's really just where you feel most comfortable. And if you're like, I don't know, which it sounds like you don't know, pick something, just pick something. And then let's get to there and then decide, do you want to lose more? Do you feel good in your skin? Because you get to determine, this is where I feel healthy. This is where I feel good versus a number. So I would say just pick, even depending on how much you have to lose, pick 15 pounds at a time and then get down, see how you feel. Great question. Love it. Okay. I'm struggling with my reverse diet and knowing how much to up my calories. Oh yeah, I've answered this one. I've gone up 200 calories. I'm still losing. Fab. Keep going. Good. Losing weight. Oh yeah. So the question or the topic request was losing weight after the age of 50 while in menopause. Please talk about how to lose weight in this stage of life. Talk about the best workouts for this age and cutting during perimenopause. I have found little difference in women perimenopausal or postmenopausal as everyone else. The main differences are what I used to do doesn't work for me anymore. All the fat is around my belly. I can't get it off. What is this, right? That's the first thing. What you used to do no longer works. 10 out of 10 times that's happened. 30 out of 30 times that's been what they've told me. And it's all in my belly, all the fat. What I have found is you just need the right macros for you. I also personally do a little bit higher protein and a little bit higher fat for these women in relative to my 30-year-olds, basically, sometimes 40-year-olds. I'll do a little bit more protein and a little bit more fat for a little bit more kind of balanced diet, hormone help, all that stuff, rather than just jacking up carbohydrates. If the woman is healthy and fit otherwise, she can usually handle more carb, but I'll say it depends on the woman. But first and foremost, it's just simply getting on the right macros for you, learning those healthy habits and lifting weights. Truly, best exercises for this stage of life, the same: squats, deadlifts, hip thrusts. I'll never forget my client who was 76 years old. It was a male. And I had him doing push-ups, pull-ups, squats, deadlifts, so many things. He skied Vail in Colorado for 6 days straight because I don't baby you just because you're 50. Let's get fit and strong and capable just as if you were younger. Why should there be a difference? Work up to it so your body can handle it. But 50 is young, and you don't need to be doing machines every day because you're over the age of 50. It's like, okay, if you've never really lifted weights, machines are great because they help you become strong. However, they don't work your stabilizer muscles because the machine is doing the work for you. So it's not the best approach in many cases because then your ligaments, your tendons, your joints, and your stabilizers are not going to get strong while you're over there getting your other muscles strong. It can definitely cause injury in the future. Work with dumbbells, work with bands, work with cables, work up to working with barbells. Get it. Seriously, just get it. Oh my gosh, keep lifting weights. I love that question. I hope that was gentle and loving, but also straightforward. Cutting during perimenopause, same thing. But again, if you start having cravings for chocolate or chips or something like that, increase your fat. Listen to your body. What is my body telling me I want right now? Is it detoxing from all the crap that you're eating before? Or is your body saying, I need a macro? I am lacking. My body really needs this. So listen to that. And that will also help you know what macros to adjust. Ladies, this is an Oura ring. If you've ever heard of Oura rings, they're amazing. It's way more accurate than a Fitbit or a watch or Apple Watch. And it does so much more. They're amazing. I saw it in the videos. So I'm like, oh, I should share that. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go back to one of these questions. I totally fell off the wagon the past 6 months. I went from being one weight and seeking advice and self-help to extreme stress and limited physical activity. My heart goes out to you. I'm gaining more weight on top of gaining previously. Ideas to get back on track. Oh, yeah. Until I can financially afford a professional. Yes. Excuse me. Macro calculator. Please comment that and I'll come back. Get the macro calculator and just start tracking your macros. That macro calculator can honestly take you really far. It can. You have to coach yourself. You have to have the self-discipline. There's more guesswork and that type of thing. But it can really take you far. So definitely start tracking your macros. Take the advice right now of 500 grams of vegetables, 300 grams of fruit, or start at 350 gram veg, 150 gram fruit and work up, right? Take the advice of you have your macros. You want to eat, let's say 4 times per day. Eat however many times you want, but let's say 4 times. Divide them all by 4 and have that as a meal goal. Eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. Drink over 100 ounces of water per day. Get over 7 hours of sleep at night, if possible, uninterrupted. Honestly, that stuff will take you pretty far. My heart goes out too. I know it's so not fun. Cool. How many calories should you reduce by when cutting? I already answered this, right? I personally shared a 25% deficit, but again, the macro calculator will walk you through that. You guys, I love this last question. This is the last question I have, so any more, please post. How to not go over fats when she hits her protein goal. If she doesn't hit her protein, her fats are good. But if she hits her protein, she keeps going over fat and she doesn't want to keep eating chicken. This is such a good question because I think a lot of you experience that. Am I right? And so a couple things. One, pre-plan your macros and put your protein in first. I have a video, if you want it, pre-planning video in the comments. It will take you through exactly how to pre-plan your macros for the whole day. And what that means is put all your food in at the beginning of the day so you can get into compliance. And it's okay if you delete throughout the day and have flexibility, but it at least gives you a skeleton shell to hit compliant, to be compliant. It's a really great way to have success. It's almost a guaranteed way to have success. Then you just follow it. So put your protein in first, then your fruit and veg, then carb and fat fillers. Okay. I would leave about 20 grams of protein left over because some fats, some carbs have protein in it. But definitely do that first. Put your protein in. The other thing is, so let me pull up another picture, and I'll pull up, it is lean protein options. Again, not all inclusive, but it shares some great ones. A lot of these are not high in fat, so you can get in a lot of protein without a lot of fat. White fish, egg whites, shrimp. Those are great ones. I even do a smoked salmon. It is a bit higher in fat, but not too bad. Non-fat Greek yogurt. Just kind of giving you guys a second to read this. I love Good Culture, non-fat cottage cheese. All the other brands I think are foul. So if you hate cottage cheese, try Good Culture. Cool. But again, the key is going to be pre-planning, putting your protein in first. Wonderful, ladies. Do you have any other questions? Do you feel more educated? Like, do you feel like, okay, I get cutting, I get maintenance and reverse dieting and surplus, I get where I should be, I get what I should be doing. Like, are you guys feeling like that? Or do you have more questions? I'm going to hang out for a minute. I want you to feel like that. So if you don't, please share where you're not feeling that way so I can bring some clarity. I'm proud of you guys for learning, for taking this information in, hopefully for applying, right? We got to action and apply to have it work. If you work it, it works every single time. It's beautiful. So as I'm waiting for any other questions to come in, I am going to share this. So once you cut, once you get to where you feel best in your body and you still want to grow muscle and all that, we reverse to maintenance, right? It's still important to track in maintenance at least for a month, I would say, before you wean off of macros, because it teaches you the habits. It takes self-discipline to track in maintenance just like it does in a deficit because you have way more food. It's just different. So learn the lifestyle, learn how much you're eating throughout the day, learn how you're feeling, learn what types of meals you're eating, then start to wean off so you can have those habits established. That's how women have the most success every time. Okay, guys. Well, I currently don't see any questions. I hope I'm not being too fast. Let me wait a couple more minutes. Oh, good. So I did see a question. I'll put that on just a sec. What day is it? April 11th. So next Tuesday, I'm doing a Fit Body Boot Camp live masterclass all about how to get better results in the gym with your macros, like macros and lifting, how to get better results. So if you want to invite, please put event invite or masterclass, and I will definitely send you the details. It will be in the group, Macro Tracking Weightlifting for Women, where most of you are watching this. It will be live right here. Excuse me. And I usually go on for like an hour. It's great information. It's a lot of info and it's a lot of stuff you'll be able to action. Cool. Yay, Mandy. Thank you. See, look, the name comes up if you give StreamYard access. So thank you for doing that. It helps me connect with you guys, and I really want to connect with you guys. Okay. Great question. What is a typical weight fluctuation when the goal is to maintain? Yeah. I did share this in the very beginning when I was talking about maintenance. So I would definitely say make sure you watch that part too, because there's a lot of good info in there if you're wanting to maintain. This depends on the woman. It depends on how aggressive your menstrual cycles are. It depends on a lot of stuff. I've seen most women fluctuate about 2 pounds. Okay. Some may fluctuate 5, but I would say, again, I would check compliance because some people can fluctuate that much, but that's a lot of like bloat and no bloat and no bloat. So I would say, let's check your food sources. Is there anything bothering your stomach? What's your complaint each day? Did you do your check-in after going out on Friday night and having an untracked day? That will definitely affect. And you could be up 5 pounds like after a vacation, which will drop off in a few days. But that's an extreme situation, right? You're eating a lot. So I personally would say about 2 pounds is what I've seen most. Great, ladies. Any other questions? I really hope that you feel so much better about this. And on the replay or later, if you guys think of questions, please post them here too. And I'm happy to go back and answer those anytime. Okay, great. Well, I will see you later. Have a great day, guys.